More productivity apps? Nope, not for me, not anymore. If you've ever sat down to focus and thought, maybe I just need a better app for this, I want to make the case for the opposite. 5 things in my actual stack that are deliberately boring and they work better than any app I've ever tried. If you've ever tried blocking apps, focus mode, etc., and you still feel your brain trying to escape every few minutes, or if you have anxiety like I do, or ever just have a particularly high stress, high distraction day, you already know this is not a willpower problem. On bad anxiety days, my brain wants stimulation the way a toddler wants snacks, right now. And no amount of just focus is going to override that. So over time, I built a focus stack of physical tools that I have right here, and I'll show you in a second, that I can reach for on the days my brain just won't settle. 5 objects and 1 method. None of them are productivity apps, and they all share one thing in common, which is the part a lot of people miss. And by the end of this video, you'll have my full stack, the principle behind it, and a method I call the white paper method. That's the part actually doing the work. By the way, I'm Janae. I run Productivity Stacks. We are an evidence-based productivity channel for freelancers and small business owners. I've spent over a decade coaching people just like you to work with your brain, not against it. Subscribe if that sounds useful. And there's a free tool in the description if you just want to jump straight to figuring out which of these tools would actually fit your situation. But I think understanding the principle behind why these work is what's going to help you build your stack, not just copy mine. So stay with me if you want that why. Quick note, nothing in this video is sponsored. These are just what I genuinely use, and I'll give you some alternative options to accomplish the same thing as we go through the video too. Here's the principle that took me years to figure out, and it's the thing every tool in my stack has in common here. They're all boring on purpose. A tool that can do everything is a tool that's constantly asking your brain to decide what to do with it, and every decision point is a place where an anxious brain can slip out the side door. Single-purpose tools take that decision away. There's a second piece to this that's even more useful, and it's actually one of the most replicated findings in behavior change research. Habits are cue contingent. When you repeatedly do the same activity in the same context with the same tool, that tool becomes a cue that pulls you into that activity automatically. The cue does some of the work for you. So when I pick up my e-ink tablet, my brain knows we're doing strategy work. I don't have to convince it. The tool primes the behavior. Boring on purpose plus stable cues. That's the whole framework. Let me show you what's in the stack. The first thing in my stack is an e-ink tablet. And here's the part most people get wrong about why these work. It's not because writing on a screen is magically better than typing. The reason an e-ink tablet works for me is that technically it can run the Google Play Store. It can run apps, and this one does have color, but not the kind you'd think. It's e-ink color. So the screen refresh is a little weird. So even though my brain can technically go scroll some apps to some extent, the experience is so unrewarding that my brain goes, ugh, never mind, and comes back to the page. I use mine specifically for strategy and brainstorming, working on my business instead of in it, but I do like that I can do a quick Google search without having to reach for my phone if I want to add links to my notes. So who is this for? This is for people who like handwriting but want something digital, who don't want to travel with stacks of notebooks, and who want to be able to search their notes later or maybe convert handwriting to text. This is not for you if these things turn you off. They are pricey a lot of times. This particular one is pretty pricey, especially the ones that do run Android, and they're clunkier than a notebook. Here's an example of what it looks like next to a Kindle, just so you can kind of see for size. So if you're somebody that doesn't need search and you don't travel very much, maybe a notebook plus the occasional just phone photo of your pages will get you most of the way for a lot less money, but it's worth considering. Okay, my second pick is the Kindle, an e-reader. Different job. My Kindle only reads books, that's all it does. And this one matters because of one of the strongest findings in this whole space. Researchers have shown that even silent phone notifications, the ones you don't respond to, disrupt your attention as much as actively using the phone. The interruption is the cost, not the response. So when I read on my phone using the Kindle app or another app, I'm reading on the thing that's pinging me. I'm still seeing it. And when I read on the actual Kindle, I'm reading on a device that doesn't even know how to ping me. A reader that's bad at being a tablet is great at being a reader. So who is this for? Well, people who travel, if you highlight a lot and you like to search across books or pull out your notes later. This might not be for you though if you just don't travel very much and you don't really need to do a search for your highlights. A physical book might honestly be a better fit in that case. Same principle and way less expensive. Okay, pick 3 is my watch. This one is a Garmin and I use it maybe not in the way you think. The brand isn't really the point. The point is that it's a relatively dumb smartwatch. It tracks activity, it has alarms, and that's basically it. So here's how I use it. Alarms pull me out of hyperfocus when I've been heads down too long. They tell me when to wrap up a work block and they start my bedtime routine, remind me it's time to stop and eat lunch. Yes, I really have an alarm to tell me to do that. It can technically receive notifications, but I have every single notification off by default. The only time I turn one on is situationally. Like I'm actively waiting for an Uber and I'll turn turn it right back off after the Uber comes. So I'm not sitting there staring at my phone, trying to see when the car arrives, and then probably getting distracted by something else. So that's the move that a lot of people miss. Notifications are off permanently and turned on for like a 30-minute window when I actually need them. It's also great to track sleep, heart rate, and HRV. Now, I will also mention Garmin has a nice body battery feature, which is embarrassingly accurate for me. But just so you know, if you're looking for like a primary wellness tracker, Garmin doesn't do that well in the studies. I also own an Oura ring, here, not here, and they do seem fairly similar most of the time. Still, I have both, and I'm going to continue to use both, but Oura does beat Garmin pretty bad in the studies. Okay, who is this for? Well, anyone who wants alarms and timers on their wrist without the pull of a tiny phone strapped to their arm, so like an Apple Watch, things like that. Or if you tend to use alarms for time blocking, and right now you're using your phone, you might find yourself getting distracted when the alarm goes off on your phone. So personally, I would look for one with vibration alert, so it's not beeping all day, and one with individually controllable notifications. So for example, like I said, I can turn Uber on and Uber back off, not like all app notifications on or off. Now, this might not be for you if you're somebody who feels worse after seeing a bad sleep score first thing in the morning. A tracker feature might do more harm than good if that's you. This doesn't bother me, but I've coached enough people to know that it does bother some, so honor that, and that's totally fine. Pick 4 is environmental, headphones for some sessions, and loop earplugs for the others. Obviously, you can use any brand, it doesn't matter. These aren't sponsored, but I will link them below. Open plan office noise has been shown to measurably reduce working memory and increase stress. Even if you work from home, remember that toddler downstairs, the leaf blower, traffic even, all of these types of noises can count. Headphones are when I want to be in something, brown noise, instrumental music, an audio environment that gives my brain something to kind of lock into. And the earplugs are for when I want to be in nothing. When I'm reading, thinking, and any sound at all is kind of just noisy and just kind of clouding my brain. Same goal both ways, and just creates less for my anxious brain to react to. So this might be for you if you find yourself getting pulled out of focus by ambient sound, even sound that you didn't necessarily notice you were noticing, if that makes sense. This might not be for you if you naturally tune out background noise and it just doesn't pull at you. Lucky you don't need this, just skip it, move on. Pick 5 is super fancy. It is white paper and a pen. That's it. Not a notebook, not a planner. The paper isn't really the point though, the method is the point. And this is what I want to leave you with. I don't use this every day. I use it on super high stress and high anxiety days when nothing else is cutting through. If you're someone who can rearrange things in your task manager and not get pulled by everything else on the list, you may never need this method at all. But if you're like me and the visible list is a problem, this is the thing that's going to help. Here is exactly what I do and get my clients to do on those bad, high stress, anxiety days. I call it the white paper method. Step 1 is I open my task manager and look at everything on my plate. On a high anxiety day, this looks like a freaking horror movie. So I pick 1 to 3 things. That's it, 1 to 3. And then step 2 is I write those things on a piece of plain white paper. And then step 3, I close my task manager fully. The window is gone. The only time I need to reopen it is if I need to actually do something in it. So the whole list of 47 other things I could be doing is no longer in my visual field at all, out of sight, out of mind, just gone. Step 4, I work the list on the paper. And step 5, and this is the part I almost never see anyone teaching, when I finish a task, I don't draw a single line through it and cross it off or put a check next to it. I scribble it out completely until you genuinely cannot read what was there, because if I can still see the words, my anxious brain will keep cycling back to them, re-engaging with work I already finished. The point of the method isn't to track what's done, it's to make what's done invisible so that all that's left in front of me is what I'm actually doing right now. I'll give you an example. I actually had to use this the other day, so that's what it looks like. Just totally scribbled out. You cannot see what was there before. Okay, look, if turning off notifications and using website blockers is enough for you, do that. That stuff absolutely works. It works for a lot of people, and I coach a lot of people through those things as I teach. I also use them myself as awesome ways to improve focus. This stack is for the days when those tools aren't enough, the days your brain has already adapted to the blockers and is finding new exits. If you've never needed this, amazing. And if you've recognized yourself in any of this so far, this is for you. And you're totally fine. This is not a big deal. We can handle it. If you're not sure which of these tools would actually fit your situation, I made a free tool to help you walk through it. The link to that is in the description. And guys, remember, some days I don't need most of this. Some days I need all of it. The point isn't that analog is better than digital. The point is that on the days my brain is reacting to everything, I want to be reacting to as little as possible. This stack just gives my brain less to react to. I'll link all of these items in the description for you below. And again, any brand works. I'll just share what I actually use. So tell me, which pick are you most curious to try, or which one did you already realize you've been doing some version of? I read every comment and I love to know. I'll catch you in the next video.